I got so many messages on Snapchat about the new future music tutorial with Alan Walker that I just had to check it out, and I have to say I can't even describe it in English. There's a word in German for it, it's called Fremdschämen. That's when you're embarrassed on behalf of someone else. That's how bad it is.
I'm Alan Walker, and right now I'm at the Fat Cat Studios, and I'm here with my co-producer.
It was just so extremely bad, I couldn't even watch it up until the end. I didn't understand this guy half of the time.
It really helps to get that in medias res, I think that's what I call it. Like, you get straight to action in the beginning of the track, and I think it's pretty cool because it's catching the listener right like that.
He was just mumbling something that didn't make any sense at all. So let's head to my studio and talk a little bit about ghost producers and this entire faking situation that is going on.
Till the sun is coming up. Till a new dawning. A new dawning.
I still don't really get it. A video that was supposed to be a walkthrough through a track got to a big epic fail, and there were quite a lot of people that screwed up to make this happen. Whenever I watch one of these videos and see a co-producer, I immediately know that it's not a co-producer, it's usually a ghostwriter. That's what I did for so many years. I didn't really want to do it. I was kind of, pushed a little into it because it was making money, and instead of stopping doing music at all, I preferred doing ghost productions for like 2.5 years. And I know what it feels to be the ghost producer when you actually want to have your own career. But some ghost producers prefer just sitting in the studio making tracks, getting their fair share of the tracks, and not have to perform, not have to be public, not to have to worry about social media and all these kind of things. I mean, what were they thinking, that like music producers will watch it and just say, yeah, okay, that's his co-producer, he probably did his tracks, but it's very clearly that he doesn't really have a clue. In this entire video, he looks very insecure and can't remember anything, doesn't know any of the names, and just mumbles things that are very general and do not make any sense. I really don't get why he participated in that video. It would have been way better without him. The co-producer knows his stuff at least, and I don't know why he did it, because for the promotion, he doesn't really need the promotion of future music. To get the credibility from other producers, failed totally. So it would have been better to just skip this date with future music and maybe do something else instead. Maybe a remix contest or something like that to promote him as an artist. In my opinion, having a co or ghost producer isn't really a bad thing. It's just two people that have an arrangement, and if they both agree and everyone gets his fair share, that's totally fine with me. But lying about it to fans is probably the worst you can do, especially with the internet and especially making a video about it. It was very clear that this is just meant to fail. I mean, what were they thinking, that the people are so stupid that they won't see it? What was the management thinking? They should have prevented that. I also think Future Music should have just said, no, we're not releasing this one. This doesn't help anyone, and it's just really embarrassing. This video is just a perfect example how to actually hurt yourself as an artist instead of promoting yourself. Don't start doing things you're not sure of, you don't have a clue about, and don't fake it. Don't ever fake it. You will just get caught. I of course can't say 100% that he didn't produce the song, but just by the way he's behaving, he's either really disturbed and insecure, which I highly doubt, playing and DJing in front of thousands of people. So it's very likely that he just didn't do the track, doesn't have a clue about producing, and just hired someone to take care of that. And it's not like he's the only one doing it like that. There are thousands of DJs out there that have ghost producers sitting in the studio making the tracks for them. They just put their name on it, release it, and then even post things on Facebook like, hey, it was so much fun making it, I had troubles with the mix or whatever, I'm happy to release it finally. And that's just really bullshit. And there is no way to try and explain you how it feels like when you create a track, then give it to someone else to just make the money to pay your rent, and he then releases it with his name, makes quite a lot of money, and you don't get anything, either because they ripped you off up front with a contract that is just bad, or because they just refuse then to pay you your fair share. I had that happening quite a lot, but now no more, just doing my own stuff. And there's one thing I hate even more than DJs pretending being producers. I will tell you everything about it, but first, time to make music myself. All done with work. Just one quick tip. I have here the vocal tracks. I copied one of them, like the main vocal that sits in the middle, down. Applied a little bit of the decapitator. It's like a distortion unit, and by distorting one of the copied down tracks, EQing it a little bit and mixing it very soft to the original vocal, it adds a little bit of weight to it. It's something you should consider. This time on this track it works, sometimes it might not work and might not be the right thing to do, but here it definitely helps me with the vocals. There's actually a documentary about Robin Schulz. I think it's like an hour long, and at one point they kind of admit that he's not doing his music, and they are giving a couple of reasons that are really obvious, and the main reasons for people having ghost producers. Because with Robin Schulz, I at least know the first 2 or 3 tracks that really got him this entire attention were done by himself. At least parts of it, because these were edits, so he took or sampled parts of other tracks, added a kick, a couple of percussions, drums, and made a nice arrangement, and had a huge success with them. The main reason for having a ghost producer is because you can't do it yourself, either because you don't know how to produce, or because you're so busy with touring that it just doesn't make any sense to produce the music yourself. If you make as much money as some of the top 100 DJs per hour, it's just way cheaper to go and play the gig, because there is no one else that could replace you playing a gig. It has to be you. No one would pay for someone else the same amount, even if the person would play the same music. So it has to be the one that is like the main artist. So it's cheaper to get someone else, like a young producer that is very talented, and let him do the production, give him some money, and in the meantime, the main DJ, the main person is playing 5 or 6 gigs and makes a shit ton of money. So yeah, money is basically the reason for doing that. It's just a way more efficient way. And let's be honest, if we would be in the same situation and had the choice between staying in the studio for an entire week and working hard on a track, or traveling around the world making 10 times more money, having fun with girls, drinking booze, and just enjoying your life and just like DJing for 2 hours on a big festival. I mean, yes, you can't blame like the artist for making this choice, and on top of that you also have the management in the background. They would never let you make your own tracks, because this way they actually lose money. It makes more money to just send you on tour and get someone else to do it for you. And it's not only the management, also the label and the fans that are waiting for the next big track. So yeah, it kind of forces some people just into having ghost producers, or at least co-producers, or at least people that are taking care of the mixing. And yeah, the mastering is usually anyways done by someone else. Let me know what you would do in the same position. I would definitely try and prefer still making my own music. Even taking care of the mixing, I somehow hate it, because it takes so much time and you sometimes just spin in circles and do the same things all over again. But somehow it's also part of the creative process, and it feels even better when you then eventually end up with a good track. Now let's get to the one thing that I hate even more than people lying and having ghost producers. And to explain you that, let me maybe start up there with my radio show. So as you might know, I used to have a radio show with pretty big guests. Robin Schulz was also there, Fritz Kalkbrenner, Koju from Suara, Wankelmood, Oliver Kuletsky, and also Claptone. And while I was making that show, I also interviewed them, of course had a little bit of small talk up front, and I usually started talking with them about music, because they are music producers, I'm a music producer, so why not have some normal small talk. But I very quickly realized that at least half of them doesn't have a clue about music production. They have ghost producers taking care of their stuff. And the last one right there was Claptone. It's like a deep house, kind of underground, but not really underground anymore. It's weird, this underground situation. But yes, he's making like deep house music that is pretty successful. And no one really knows, or at least I think it's not really public, who's behind the mask. I DJ'd with him, had him in the radio show, so I know who it is, but I can't tell. But here comes the thing that I hate even more than the ghost producers. It's people DJing with masks, or just people not showing who they really are. And it's not because some of them want to protect their privacy. This might be the case with some of them. But in most cases, or in some cases, and it's occurring more and more, I see it more and more happening in the scene, they just make it so that they can solve the problem having just one person playing the DJ gigs. For example, in Claptone's case, they started out just with one artist playing. I know from the very beginning, I was living in Berlin, he was playing in the Watergate downstairs on the smaller floor, with just 200 people in front of him, and it was just one person. And then they started figuring out, okay, we could have another person with the same mask playing at the same time. So now if you check out the Claptone Facebook page and it shows the gigs, you see him DJing at the same time, at the same day in Miami and Johannesburg, which is of course impossible. They have two persons taking care of that. They might even in the future have a third person, I don't know. I just think that's a point where it starts to not only be fake and a lie, it's just a scam. And if you think that's already bad, there is one case that is even worse, and that is managers starting to buy tracks from ghost producers. They just pick a random name, release tracks, and once they pick up, they get young people to DJ for that artist project, maybe with mask or just calling it a collaborative or whatever, and this way making even more money with the gigs, because that's where the money is made. That right there is just peak bullshit. Even my management has one of these weird projects, and that's also one of the reasons why I split up with them. I'm not working with them anymore. I just hate when people are doing this kind of bullshit. That's already too much. Speaking about too much, I talked too much. It's already late, so let's hurry up. I promised my girlfriend to pick her up and actually go to a birthday. Not the most exciting, just her grandfather, but family is important.
Hello, Walker?
No clue?
No.
Just say he's stupid.
Who is he?
DJ, producer. You wanna know why?
Yes.
Okay, he made a video. So what do you think now about him?
He's so stupid.
Exactly.
And